some difficulty in forgiving someone with something, or letting the ghosts of the past go. The reason I say that is that with Judgment appearing here in the reverse position, Judgment is a card about, we see these souls who are coming up from the graves. These represent the past, old karma, old lives, old history. And we can see in the Judgment card this triumphant trumpet of fire is renewing the spirits of all of them and letting them go. So this is really a powerful card of forgiveness, letting the ghosts of the past go. It actually brings things back to life when you employ this sort of cleansing fire of forgiveness. In the reverse position too, also sometimes Judgment can mean criticism, and means being overly judgmental about something, like saying, you know, I'm banishing you, I'm not letting go of this, I'm holding on to old grudges. So be careful with that, Virgo. Sometimes Virgos are wonderful in terms of having good judgment, having a critical eye, being able to see details that others don't see. But be careful of being overly harsh, overly critical, or judgmental. Or if that's showing up as judgment against you, see if you can forgive that person, because then you're not participating in that holding on to old stuff, holding on to old baggage, criticism, judgment, all of that. That's what Judgment in reverse means. And with Seven of Cups showing up here, this is a card of wishes, a card of hopes, a card of different options that are before you. You may be tempted into like fantasy land when this card shows up at the beginning of June, Virgo. Be careful that whenever I see this card, I always say, be careful that what you see is what you get. This has a real Neptunian fog to it. And we can be attracted by many different things, like victory, you know, riches, who we want to pretend we are. This mask can be like who we think we should show up as. This can be, you know, dragon is power. We want the fortress or the castle. There's all different kinds of things going on here. And it's really a card about where your heart is and what you desire. So this card can sometimes be called temptation, infatuation, delusion, or confusion. Again, that Neptunian fog means that things aren't being seen clearly, and often when this card shows up, it means you could be seeing things through rose-colored glasses. So I'm gonna say right now is not a great time to make decisions about something, Virgo. This is like all the options that are sort of glittering and in front of you. And Two of Swords here is a dilemma, having a tough time making a decision and just checking out, blindfolding yourself. Often what I'll say with this card is that the way out of this is by making a decision or taking action. I want you to be careful with your decision making. You know, it shows like there's going to be an evolution in the beginning of June from seeing options that are maybe rosier than the truth. This means not taking action, not making a decision, being stuck in dilemma, avoiding a conflict, avoiding a decision, you know, checking out, essentially. It's going to be later in, if towards the beginning of June you're having a tough time making a decision with something, or you're not sure if you're seeing things for what they really are, wait until Chariot shows up for you. Wait until you have an intuition about it, because Chariot is a great decision maker. He knows when to turn left and when to turn right. He knows how to balance the logical and analytical mind versus the passionate, you know, feeling mind. So left brain and right brain. He's able to balance those two, and he has a good hunch, intuition, and he always crosses the finish line. This is a card of victory and success and control with the mind. So I want you to take some time out at the beginning of June, Virgo. See, your judgment is a little clouded at the very beginning, and it's giving you a tough time in making a decision between something. Wait until like the later half of, say, around June 7th to 10th before you make any decisions. I'm going to say after the new moon, because that's when the new moon's June 4th, and that's when this guy's showing up. That's when this crescent moon is showing up. That's when good decision making is happening. So wait till at least after the 4th. I would say You know, that's the new moon here. You may still be having a tough time with something, but around the 7th or the 10th, you should be good to go with your decisions should lead to success around that time. And your judgment will be back on track. Towards the middle of the month, there's interesting things happening. It's sort of centered around the home here. This is 4 of Wands. So this is the marriage home. This is the castle. This is celebration, joy. This could mean also just staying at home, working on your garden, working on projects related to the home. You may even feel like you're kind of a hermit at your home, looking for the truth. Like you may be looking for the truth in relation to your home. I kind of see it as you spending time by yourself, in your home, feeling grounded there. And really, actually, there's a lot of fruitfulness that's going on there. I see this as from the decision made around the new moon. Empress is when all things flower. Empress is feeling satisfied. This is beautiful here with King of Cups. This is like marital bliss in many ways. This is the person who is the perfect partner. And Empress is someone who's sexually satisfied. She's prosperous. She almost has the Midas touch where everything she touches turns to gold. It's got all this like pregnant energy. If you're trying to get pregnant, middle of June is a great time for you, Virgo. This is celebrating everything that grows. And Empress is one of those cards that just represents fullness and richness, vitality. She often is surrounded by plants and animals. And it's a great time for emotional fulfillment as well. She's one of the most feminine cards of the whole deck. She represents, she is very in touch with Venus energy and the harvest, collecting abundance and prosperity. And King of Cups represents emotional fulfillment, master of emotions, as well as the perfect partner and the perfect father. So there is some nice dynamic energy going on and available to you, especially in regards to the home. I'm just seeing this as like a lovely home filled with, there might be a lot of fulfillment available to you in the home. And you might be searching for those truths regarding that. Virgo, for June. And then towards the end of the month, things might be seeming a little upside down. There is Hanged Man and Justice, both in reverse. So both of these are cards that have to do with truth. For Hangman, it has to do with his own personal truth, doing things his own unique way, even though others might not support it. But he finds spiritual fulfillment in just hanging there. He finds comfort. And he's not worried about what everybody else thinks. He does things his own way. Justice is about rendering a verdict, connecting to truth, weighing evidence, coming out with what is actually true in the situation, making a decision, making sort of like a finality about something. But both of these are related to truth and verdicts. You know, he's the person who's usually a verdict is rendered upon. And this is the person making the decision. So in some ways, I'm kind of seeing this is related to what's happening at the beginning here of bad judgment. Justice is upside down. Hangman is upside down as well. He's kind of being put on display for doing things his own way. So I'm going to say be careful about harsh judgments for June, Virgo. Justice is not being carried out here. There's something that is topsy-turvy about justice, about decisions and verdicts being rendered against those who are seen of doing things outside the line. Judgments upside down. The one time you do have success with your judgments is towards, like I said, around June 7th to 10th. So right after that new moon, epitomize on that time or capitalize on that because it's a good time for you to make judgments. And I mean, this is very full and rich here. There's truth, the home, fulfillment, abundance, prosperity, emotional fulfillment, the perfect partner, the husband, even pregnancies going on here. So that's some nice stuff, but be careful throughout June of harsh judgments, verdicts that are rendered because they're not necessarily going to be in alignment with the truth. And then I see some unwillingness here. This is Page of Wands, which represents optimism. It represents willingness. It's got fiery energy. It's the Page of Fire. So it's saying like, I'm open to something. I'm ready to go in. I'm open. in this case, this is like, could be the younger side of a fire sign. So Sagittarius, Leo, or Aries that is not participating, not willing, is kind of being stubborn, maybe disagrees with what has been decided upon, whatever verdict here that is unjust. This could be a fire sign stamping its feet and saying, no, it's not how it goes. It's not, I don't agree. I'm not open to that. I'm not going to toe the line. So this could, I'm kind of seeing this as children's reactions or young person's reaction to what's going on here. And then at the end of the month, you're going to have to let go of a belief system that is no longer serving you. 10 of Swords. 10 is a completion number, and Swords represents our ideas or our beliefs. So if you looked at something in a certain way, for example, if there was some criticism towards something, that you looked at things in a critical way, you may have to let that go because it's not going to serve you any longer. This card is called Bottoming Out, and it means that, you know, if all these swords represent thoughts and ideas, and if you cling to those, if you continue to carry those, it may destroy you in the end. It's going to drain the life out of you, Virgo. So this is a card that is saying at the end of June, there's going to be a way in which you're going to acknowledge the end of something, especially a way of thinking about something, because 10 of Swords represents belief patterns, belief systems. And this is also a card which is, I often call it, it's always darkest before the new dawn. And this card represents the closing out of this way of thinking. It's the end of that person. It's the end of that way of thinking. They in the next day, in the Rider-Waite, there's actually a thin line of the new dawn that's coming after this. So, ending of a cycle.